Hello and welcome to another exam paper walkthrough. We're doing a slightly different direction today. We're doing a paper from the Aiming For series from Edexcel, and this is from their Aiming for a Grade 5 revision series. Really good paper. This is a paper 3, so another calculator paper. In the description to this video, you'll find a link to a Google Drive that will take you to a digital version of this. I would strongly recommend you either do the paper beforehand or alongside the paper and have some music on in the background. If you find this video useful, please subscribe if you like. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to recommend, if you've got our calculators, before we start a paper, it's always good to do a reset. So to do a reset on these class whizzes, you press Shift, followed by the reset button. It says reset what level. I want to reset all, equals, and then AC. Just to make sure my calculator is now in degree mode and I've got my natural display working. Right, so question 1. Here's a list of shoe sizes of 12 boys in a class. Find the median. So they're already in size order, which is quite handy. Technically, if we've got 12 values, the median is going to fall in the position of 12 plus 1 divided by 2. It's going to be, technically, we're going to have 2. We're looking for the 6.5, so we want the 6th value and the 7th value. There's nothing wrong with top and tailing until you get to the middle, but that's a slightly more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's the 6th and the 7th value. You take the average of those, so we're looking at 7. Work out the range. So the range is always going to be largest minus the smallest. So in this case 5. And then so shoe size of each of 12 girls in the class, the median is 6 and the range is 3. Compare the distributions. So you need 2 statements normally, 2 marks, 2 statements, 1 to compare the median, 1 to compare the range. So for your compare of the median, so the boys have a larger median. Boys have a larger median. Opposite version of that is fine as well. Girls have a smaller median. Second one is comparing the range. So boys have a larger range. Boys have a larger range. And you could do the opposite. Girls have a smaller range. You don't need to discuss why that might be. It just asks you to compare the distribution. You don't need to give justifications or reasons. You just need to straight away compare them. Okay then, and moving on to question 2. So we've got quadrilateral, work out the size of angle X. So angles in a quadrilateral need to add up to 360. So in effect, I'm going to just say X plus 120 plus 120 plus 80 is equal to 360. I can use my calculator to do that, although that's going to be 200, 320. So X plus 320 is going to be equal to 360, meaning that X is going to be equal to 40. Give a reason for your answer. Angles in a quadrilateral. Angles in a quadrilateral equal 360 degrees. Okay, question 3. Oh no, second part of that one. Explain why the diagram is wrong. The diagram below shows a triangle. So let's just check. For that to be wrong, let's see what they add up to. They should add up to 180. So those 3 angles currently add up to 190. And angles in a triangle need to equal 180. Need to make 180. Okay, question 3. Work out the lowest common multiple of 24 and 56. Dead simple way to do this on a calculator paper is to simplify the fraction. So if I type it in as 24 over 56, it will automatically cancel down by the lowest common multiple. So highest common factor. So over 56 equals 3 over 7. So it's cancelled down by 8, which means that 8 would be the highest common factor. Because we want the lowest common multiple, you take the numerator of one and multiply it by the denominator of the other. Doesn't matter which way around you do it, they will both give you the same value. In this case, that's going to be 168. Dead simple way of doing it on your calculator. Nice, easy, quick way. Okay, question 4. Okay, I struggled to do this one slightly. The accurately drawn map shows the positions of 3 points A, B, and C in a field. Pavilion walks in a straight line from A to B. She then walks in a straight line from B to C. Susie walks in a straight line from A to C. Pavilion walks more meters than Susan. How many more? So if I work in terms of centimeters, so A to B, so you're going to have to, so if I measured that with a ruler, that would be 4.4 centimeters. If I measured B to C, I'll do this now on my paper copy. B to C would be 3.5, and then A to C is 6.2 centimeters. So I'm going to work in terms of centimeters to start with, then I'm going to convert afterwards. So I'm going to say 4.4 plus 3.7, 3.5, that would be the total distance that Parveen walks, and then from that I want to subtract the distance that Susan walks, 6.2, and we'll bring the calculator in for this. So 4.4 plus 3.5, and then subtract 6.2. So that gives me 1.7 centimeters more. So now I'm going to convert. So if you converted earlier, that's absolutely fine. You just have to convert 3 times. So 1.7 times by 150 is going to be equal to 255. And again, if you did the conversion earlier on, that's absolutely fine. You just have to convert 3 times. Doing it at the end just saves a bit of time. Find by measuring the bearing of A from C. So I'll show this very roughly, just so you've got an idea of how you do it. Okay, so bearings of A from C. So let me just put a better line in there. So I want to use my ruler to actually draw a straight line between A and C. There we go. Okay, now I want to actually accurately measure this angle here. That's not my bearing, but that is very closely linked to my bearing. So if I bring my protractor up now and place my protractor on my angle, there we go, and I'm trying to measure that angle there from there to there. So I'll make it 72. So if I'm at that angle 72 when drawn accurately, the bearing is actually going to be in a clockwise direction, so I want that angle there. So it would be 360 minus 72, which is going to give me 288. Okay, question 5, work out as a column vector A plus B. So we're in effect, it's only 1 mark, so I'm only going to do it as a 1 marker. So 2 minus 1 is 1, and then 3 plus 2 is 5, so 1, 5. My first one, 2A minus C, so we have got like 2 marks there, so I'm going to say 2A would be 4, 6, and I want to minus 4, 1. So 4 minus 4 is 0, and then 6 minus 1 is 5. So 0, 5. And for this, From point P, draw 2D. So D is 3 across, 2 down, so I'm going 6 across and 4 down. And it's a straight line between there and there. And it should be parallel and twice as long as D. So there, and we'll just label it 2D. Okay, question 6. Carl cycles to his friend's house. He stays at his friend's house for a number of minutes and she then cycles home. Here is a travel graph of her journey. So how many minutes did Carly stay at her friend's house for? So she arrived at 8:30 and stayed until looks like 45 to me. So we're saying that she stayed for 15 minutes. How far from her home is Carly at 8:50? So 8:50 is this point here. So if we go up to our graph and then read across, so I would probably say if that there is 5, I would say 4.6. Work out Carly's average speed for her first 20 minutes of her journey. So the first 20 minutes is here. So the speed is going to be equal to speed is distance divided by time. So she's travelled a distance of 4 in a speed of 20 minutes, which is a third of an hour. And you can type it in like that. That's absolutely fine. So 4 divided by a third. So I think it's going to be 12. So 12 kilometers per hour. Okay, and question 7. On the centimeter grid, draw an isosceles triangle with an area of 12 centimeters squared. Remember, a similar question to this. So basically, the area of a triangle is equal to a half base times height. So we're saying that that's 12 is equal to a half of whatever the base times by the height is. I'm just going to keep calling it B times H for now. So we want double both sides, 24 is equal to the base times by the height. So I want two numbers that times together to make 24. 6 and 4 work pretty well. So I'm drawing a triangle with a base of 6 and a vertical height of 4, but we want an isosceles, so 2 equal sides. So that would be my triangle. Other versions that you could have, that just seems the most straightforward way though. Okay, question 8. Write correct 2 significant figures. So that 5 there is the second significant figure. Currently the number behind it is a 3, so we would keep it as a 5, but that represents hundreds, so 2,500. One significant figure, that 8 is the first significant figure, because 0 can't be the first significant figure. That number is closer to 9 than it is to 8, so we would go 0.09. Okay, question 9. We've got a tree diagram. So sports quiz, music quiz, probabilities, complete the tree diagram. So branches have to add up to 1. So we've got, those are going to be my branches. Nice, straightforward, 2 marks on an exam. Complete the tree diagram. Work out the probability that they win both. Both would be the top branch, so this branch here. So that's going to be 0.3 times by 0.35. Again, it's calculator paper, so use your calculator. So 0.105. Okay, question 10. Write as an ordinary number. So in effect, -4 means that we're going to have 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the number 675. Okay, work out, giving your answer in standard form. So I'm going to just type this into my calculator in standard form. So fraction button, then we go, I'm going to put it in brackets, although I don't think I actually need to, but 2.56 times by 10 to the 6. That's my first standard form. I want to times that by, same process, 4.12, and I've mistyped, should be 4.12. Right. Times by 10 to the minus 3. And then I want to divide that by 1.6 times by 10 to the minus 2. Double check that I've typed everything in right. It looks fine. I'm rushing a little bit, but that looks fine. So we get the number of 659200. To convert that into standard form, it becomes 6.592 times by 10 to that, and I need to move it decimal from there to there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So to the 5. Okay, question 11. So we've got a pie chart. Sam draws pie chart for this information. Write down 2 different things that are wrong or misleading with this pie chart. Pie chart's not labelled would be the first point. So first point, pie chart is not labelled. Not labelled. And I would say the first section, that looks like a 90-degree angle to represent 90 potatoes. So first angle should not be 90 degrees. There is no 90-degree angle in the pie chart. And that'll do. Let's see what the mark scheme says. Labels are missing. Pie chart is not drawn accurately. The angle should be 108, 126, 126. No 90 degree, shouldn't be no 90-degree angle. Okay. Okay, question 12. So this table gives information about the length in centimeters of some pieces of string. Amos draws a frequency polygon for this information. Write down 2 mistakes that he has made. Okay, let's just double check. Common ones are not plotting at the midpoints. These do appear to be plotted at the midpoints though. So that doesn't appear, there we go, that's an issue. So 55 should be plotted at 45.5. That's one mistake. Now if we look at the totals, 15 I agree with that one, 20 I agree with that one, 50 I agree with that one, 25 I agree with that one, I agree with that one. Right, so what else could it be? Labelling the axes, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 10, 20, 30, there we go. So 40 is missing from the frequency. Okay, question 13. Rotate the shape 90 degrees clockwise about the point 0, 0. So anti-clockwise, so I'm going to go, so that's the point, so I'm going that way. 90 degrees. So I'm going to kind of look at this point here. That point, if it's rotated 90 degrees, would go there. And then from there, I can kind of visualize the shape in my mind. And I've gone the wrong way. I've gone clockwise. So mistake there. Same principle though, anti-clockwise is that way. So I'm going to look at that point. So that point's going to move to there, from there. So that should be my rotation. Okay, question 14. Rick, Selma, Tony are playing a game with counters. Rick has some, Selma has twice as many, Tony has 6 less than Selma. In total they have 54. The number of counters Rick has to the number of counters Tony has is 1 to P. Work out the value of P. Okay, so let's start with putting that information into... Okay, let's start by putting that information into a form we can use. Rick has some counters, so let's start by calling that X, although I might change that in a moment. Selma has twice as many counters as Rick, so Selma would have 2X. And Tony would have 6 less than Selma, so 2X minus 6. I was just double checking my reading there. So in total they have 54 counters. Yeah, I think I've got to work out these values. So in total then we have got so in total we've got 5x minus 6 is equal to 54. So that means that 5x is going to be equal to 60, so x is going to be equal to 10. So 10, 20, and 14. If we want it as a ratio of Rick to Tony, that would be 1. So Rick to Tony so I've just spotted I've made a mistake. Let's just rewind it a little bit. My mistake was here. So 60 divided by 5 is not 10. 60 divided by 5 is 12. So that means the numbers would be 12, 24, and 18. So their ratio would be 12 to 18, which does simplify. 6 goes into them both, 2 to 3. But we want it in the form of 1 to n, so it would be 1 to 3 over 2 or 1 to 1.5. The P is either 3 over 2 or 1.5. Okay, question 15. Work out the size of angle CQR. So CQR. So let's just put that on first of all. CQR, that's this angle here. Okay, that's not too bad. So I'm going to go, first of all, let's kind of colour it. So if I say this angle here is going to be 56, and the reason is it is a corresponding angle to APB. So CQP is going to be equal to 56 degrees. I didn't make that 6 very clear. And the reason is that it is corresponding to APB. My pen's running low. So corresponding to APB. Then I'm going to do a little bit of working. So that angle there is also going to be 56. So let's do that. QPR is also equal to 56 as it is vertically opposite. APB. And then I'm going to say that PQR is going to be equal to 180 minus 56 divided by 2. So 180 minus 56 divided by 2 is 62. And the reason for that is base angles of an isosceles triangle are equal. Base angles of isosceles triangle are equal. And then the final one, I don't really need a reason, but CQR is going to be equal to CQP plus PQR, which is going to be equal to 56 plus 62, which will take me to 118 degrees. Okay, question 16. On the grid, draw a quadrilateral with no lines of symmetry, and a rotational symmetry of order 2. So we're going to be looking at a parallelogram. So there we go, there's an example, although I think any parallelogram that is not all four sides equal, I think would work. Okay, and question 17, work out the value of x. Lots of students miss out this first step. Whenever you've got a right angled triangle, you need to consider what we got in the question. In this question, we are looking at a relationship between three sides. So 3 sides is Pythag, 2 sides and an angle is trig. A lot of students on a calculator paper, as soon as they see a right angle, assume trig. This is going to be Pythag, where we were working out one of the shorter sides. So x squared is going to be equal to the longer side squared minus the other short side squared. So will tend to write that line down. Unless it's too complicated. So that's actually looking like quite nice numbers, because when I square root both of those, square root my answer, I get 15 over 2, so 7.5. Okay, question 18. Work out the value of t when m is minus 3. So I tend to just type what I'm going to type into my calculator. And whenever I'm substituting with a negative number, I will put it into a bracket. If I don't have this bracket around and I typed it in without, what it would actually do is square 3 and then say it was minus that value. But we have got to square the minus 3. So if we type it in like that, including the brackets, it gives us 25. And for part B, make P the subject. So I want to move the plus 4 by minusing 4 from both sides. That will give me D minus 4 is equal to 3P. And then divide both sides by 3. Gives me P is going to be equal to D minus 4 all divided by 3. Okay, question 19. Jessica runs for 15 minutes at an average speed of 16 miles per hour. She then runs for 40 minutes at an average speed of 9 miles per hour. It takes Amy 45 minutes to run the same distance that Jessica runs. Work out Amy's average speed. So this is a kind of a typical compound measures question. So in effect, we've got 2 bits of Jessica's journey. So Jessica A, I'm going to call it Jessica A and Jessica B, and then I'm going to call it Amy. So the first part of Jessica's journey, speed, distance, time. We really want to work out the distance for both parts, but her time is 15 minutes, which is a quarter of an hour. And then time for the second part is 40 minutes, which is, if we think about it, it's 2/3 of an hour. 20 minutes is 1/3 of an hour. Speed of 6 and speed of 9. And we're given Amy's total time is 45 minutes, which is 3/4 of an hour. But we don't know her total distance, so we need to work out the distance covered in these two parts. So 1/4 of 6, so 6 times by 1/4 is 1.5. And then Jessica's 2/3, well 1/3 would be 3, so that's going to be 6. So the total distance that she covered was 6.5. So Amy's average speed is going to be speed is equal to distance divided by time. So in this case, that's going to be 7.5 divided by 3/4 or divided by 7.5. I'm actually going to write it as divided by 0.75 just because it makes more sense. So that's going to be 10. Don't need a calculator for that. So 10 miles per hour. Okay, question 20, make A the subject. So to make A the subject, I'm going to start by adding 9 on both sides. So P plus 9 is equal to 3A, then divide both sides by 3. I would get A is equal to P plus 9 divided by 3, and I would leave it like that. Okay, and question 21, change 30 meters per second into kilometers per hour. So meters per second, 30 meters per second, that means that in 1 second, she would travel, so if I've started using this kind of ratio method to help me out. 30 meters per second means that in my time frame and my distance, in 1 second, she would travel 30 meters. Per hour, so if I wanted to go up to hour, an hour is 60 seconds. So 60 seconds, she would travel 30 times by 60 because I've times by 60 here. So that would be 1800, 180 meters in an hour. So 1,800, so in 1 hour she would travel 1.8 kilometers. So it's a speed of 1.8. No, I've made a slight mistake there. Not a massive one. So here, 60 seconds isn't an hour, 60 seconds is a minute. So she travels 1.8 kilometers in 1 minute. So in 60 minutes, I just need to times that by 60. So 1.8 times by 60 gives me 108 kilometers. So times by 60 there. So 108 kilometers per hour. And I find that kind of ratio table quite a nice way to do that. The newish way that I've looked at it. Okay, question 22. The value of Michael's car decreases by 15%. The car now has a value of 13,600. Work out the value of Michael's car before the depreciation. So if something's decreased by 15%, it's a multiplier of 0.85. So if original value times by 0.85 gave us 13,600, the original car must have been 13,600 divided by 0.85. Ooh. 13,600 divided by 0.85. So 16,000. Okay, question 23. Change 800 centimeter cubed into meters cubed. Well, 1 meter cubed is going to be equal to 1 meter times 1 meter times, 100 times 100 times 100 centimeters. So it would be 1 with 6 zeros. So if I'm trying to convert this, centimeters cubed. So if I'm trying to convert this, we're going to have I'm in effect going to do 8,000 times by 1 times 10 to the 6. So I'm moving this decimal point 6 places this way. So we would actually get 0.008. If we kind of view it on here, that would be 8000 centimeters cubed. I'm trying to convert that into 1 meter cubed. So you can see why we've got 0.00, a bit better there. Change the speed of 180 kilometers per hour into meters per second. So I'm going to use that thing again. So I'm looking at time and I'm looking at distance. So 180 kilometers in 1 hour. So kilometers in 1 hour. So if I want to change that into meters per second, first of all, I'm going to say that 1 hour is actually equal to 3,600. So that's 60, I've done one too many zeros there, 60 times 60 is equal to 3,600 seconds. And with 18 kilometers would actually be equal to 180,000 meters. And I've messed up, it said meters, meters per second. So 1 second, I've got to divide this by 3,600, so I've got to divide this by 3,600. So divide by 3,600, divide by 3,600. So 180,123, so I've got a total of 4 zeros, just double checking that, divided by 3,600. 50. So 15 meters per second. Okay, question 24. There are 30 women, 20 men in the gym. The mean height of all 50 people is 187.6 centimeters. The mean height of the 20 men is blah, blah, blah. Calculate the mean height of the 30 women. So, in effect, what we're saying is I'm going to work out the total height of the 30 women first of all. To do that, I'm going to do 50 times by 167.6, but then I'm going to subtract the height of all the men, which is going to be 20 times by 182. So that's going to give me 50 times by 167.6. And then I want to subtract the total height of the men, which is going to be 20 times by 182. So that's going to be the total height of all of the females. There are 30 of them, so their average height would be that divided by 30. So divided by 30 gives me 158 as their average height, or their mean height. I'm not very happy with that 8. With that 5, sorry. So 158. Okay, question 25. Karina has 4 tanks on her tractor. Each tank has a cylinder with a diameter of 80 centimeters and a height of 160. The 4 tanks are filled completely with a mixture of fertilizer and water. The fertilizer has to be mixed with the water in a ratio of 1 to 100 by volume. Karina has 32 litres of fertilizer. 1 litre equals 1,000 centimetre cubed. Has Karina enough fertilizer for the 4 tanks? Okay, so I need to work out the volume of the 4 tanks first of all. Just trying to think, can I take a little bit of a shortcut on this? No. Right, so how am I going to go about this? So the volume of a cylinder, so the total volume is going to be equal to 4 times by pi r squared L, pi r squared L. So that's going to be 4 times by pi times by 40 would be the radius, times by 160. So that's going to be equal to, I'm going to leave it in terms of pi just for ease. So 4 times 40 squared times by 160. So I've got 1024000 pi as my total volume, and that is going to be in centimeters cubed. I'm going to convert that into liters, so by knocking 3 zeros off. So we've got 124 liters by volume. We're splitting it in the ratio of water to fertilizer, in the ratio of 1 to, no, other way around, fertilizer to water. Fertilizer to water in the ratio of 1 to 100. Just rereading the question. So the 4 tanks are to be completely filled with a mixture of fertilizer and water. Okay. The fertilizer has to be mixed in a ratio of 1 to 1,200 by volume. Karina has 32 liters of fertilizer. Okay, so I am going to go this way with this. She's got 32 liters of fertilizer, so she would have enough for 3200 liters of water. So she needs to have a total of 32,032. She needs a total volume of that. She's got enough fertilizer for a total volume of that. And the amount that she has so let's just work that out. 1024 times by pi. Oh, okay, that's really close. So she has volume 3216.99087. That's the volume that she has, and this is the volume that she can fill. So if I call that can fill 3,232 litres. So she does have enough. So she has, so 3216.99 is less than 3232 litres. So does she have enough? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Okay, and 26. The diagram shows a rectangle STUV, and then we've got straight lines. All measurements are in centimeters. The area of the trapezium QUVRQ. QUVR is A. Show that A is equal to 2x squared plus 20x. Okay, so in effect, so we are after this. So area QUVR. So I'm after this area here. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to say that that's going to be 4x. And then this length here, if this is 2x, 3x plus 5, and this is 2x, this must be x plus 5. And then the area of a trapezium is equal to a half of a plus b. I don't know why I've gone for a capital A there. A plus b times by h. So that's going to be a half of x plus 5 times by 4x. So let's tidy that up a little bit. Half of 4x is going to be 2x, and then that's going to be x plus 10, which is going to be 2x squared plus 20x, which is what we're asked to show. And that brings us to the end of that paper. Okay, I hope you found that useful. So just before I sign off, we've got the skills map for this paper. So Edexcel put this together. It's quite a nice paper. We've got the 28 questions. Just double checking that I've placed the right one. Yep. So this tells you the chapter index will be based around these topic areas. So you can find out if you particularly struggled with question 21, rearranging formula. You can look at some additional bespoke revision on that area alone. And then the suggested grade boundaries, these are only aiming for grade 5. They're not really grade boundaries. You can use it elsewhere. But there we go. There's the rough grade boundaries for that. I hope you found that useful. If you've got any comments, questions, or feedback, please type it into the thread and I will get back to you fairly quickly. Thank you for your time and subscribe if you like.